to Cape Town now, where Mortimer Saunders has pleaded guilty in the Western Cape High Court to the murder of 3-year-old Courtney Pieters, but he insists it was not premeditated, also denying raping her. eNCA's Leigh-Anne Jansen has been covering that trial for us and joins us in Cape Town. Hello, Leigh-Anne. Good afternoon to you. First of all, before we get to court proceedings today, just give us the context, the background again. This was a particularly difficult case, if I remember.
Yes, Jeremy, you are fading though, your sound is fading, but I think you asked me about the context of the story. Courtney Pieters went missing on the 4th of May 2017 from her home in Alces River. The community, her parents, various civil society groups and neighborhood watchers from other areas within Cape Town all joined forces to look for the little girl. Her body was found in a shallow grave in Epping Industria, a kilometre or so away from our house, just over a week after she was reported missing on the 4th of May. Mortimer Saunders, the man who is now before court standing trial for her murder, was arrested the next day.
How did this play out in court today, Leigh-Anne?
Well, Mortimer Saunders had pleaded not guilty to premeditated murder. He pleaded guilty to murder, though. He also pleaded not guilty to raping Courtney Pieters, but he did plead guilty to necrophilia. He gave some sordid details in a plea explanation handed up to the judge this morning, in which he details penetrating the little girl after she had already died. He said he had poisoned her with ant poison. He gave it to her to drink. She refused at first, but then drank the ant poison, and he said he did so because he was irritated that the 3-year-old woke him that morning to watch TV in his room, and he was also irritated at her mother. So it seems it was a way of getting back at Courtney Pieters' mum, and that was his reason, he says, for poisoning her. He says that people were then looking for her, and Courtney tried to get their attention. He then hit her and smothered her with a towel and left her in the room. Upon his return, she was dead, and that is when the sexual acts commenced.
And how did this go down in court today?
Well, there was a dead silence that went across the courtroom when these details were read out in court. Mortimer Saunders himself was stony-faced in the dock, emotionless. It's hard to read him, though. I must add that he looks like your next-door neighbour. He looks like the everyday man in the street. He also has a really soft voice when he spoke to the judge, pleading guilty to some of the charges. The public gallery, though, the packed public gallery fell into silence, but you could see on people's faces that they were absolutely horrified by what they had just heard.
All right, Leigh-Anne Jansen in Cape